Highlights what African Americans and African American men in particular have to go through just to ensure their own safety. I mean, as I wrote, I carry my driver's license, insurance card, and my business card with my partner's cell phone number on it, just in case something happens.
All right, folks, welcome back to the Steve Malzberg Show. That's Ronan Farrow's show on MSNBC, and they're talking about the shooting in Missouri and the aftermath. Jonathan Capehart is on with him, and obviously Jonathan Capehart is African American, and it gets really curious. Really curious. First of all, to listen to both of them talk, you would think that there is a war, and I think they even say there is, on black men in this country. But watch this.
When Trayvon Martin was killed, I wrote a reprise in this piece today, the lessons that my mother taught me. Don't run in public. Don't run with anything in your hands. Keep a discreet distance away from white women, lest you get accused of any number of things. So these are the, if anyone is under siege, I would say it would be African Americans and African American men in particular. African American men are under siege. And they go back to Trayvon Martin. Wasn't that adjudicated? Didn't we learn the facts about Trayvon Martin? Don't we know why he was shot? Wasn't the man found not guilty? They point to it as if it's a case of an unarmed black man being shot down in cold blood for no reason. Now watch this.
You know, it resonates so much for me on a personal level because I grew up with a black brother, and people talk about this term black motheritis. Black mothers fearing exactly what you're talking about. My white mother had black motheritis. I mean, I heard the speech so many times. My brother would, was a big black guy, and he would run in the supermarket as a young teenager, and she would say, you can't do that, and that he had to dress in a different way from me because there were all these fears about maybe violence against him if he went across the street in a hoodie, if he went across the street looking a certain way.
In New York City? I don't know, Mia Farrow, did she live in New York City? I think she did. If he's talking about New York City, that there were fears that in New York City, on the Upper East Side or whatever, I don't know, a black kid had to dress differently than him, his brother, because something would happen if he, I mean, look, next. It's painful for me to have to write about these things, about the limitations that I have to put on myself or that my mom put on me. It's helpful, though, that people know this and understand this, that the folks who are the lawfully protesting people there in Ferguson, Missouri, or in Sanford, Florida, or in New York City, this is what they're protesting. They're protesting the fact that it seems like black life and black male life isn't worth anything. Really? I guess you don't understand the facts in the Trayvon Martin case. And we don't know the facts in this case. It could be the cop belongs in jail. It could be the cop acted in the right fashion. We don't know yet. Yet there's a war on black men. Okay, folks, we'll be back with more of the show. Elliot Abrams will join us. But first, this hour's American Moment.
Since the beginning annals of history, the Middle East has always been a center for conflicts, intrigue, and war. So it was again on August 2nd, 1990, when Iraq's then-President Saddam Hussein ordered his armies to invade Kuwait. His objective? The oil-rich fields of Rumalia. It took 5 months of failed negotiations before the United States and its European and Arab allies abandoned their diplomatic efforts and initiated military actions against the invading Iraqi forces. On the evening of January 16, 1991, President George Herbert Walker Bush addressed the nation.
Just 2 hours ago, Allied air forces began an attack on military targets in Iraq and Kuwait. These attacks continue as I speak.
The largest Allied coalition since World War II was amassed under the command of General Norman Schwarzkopf. Known as Stormin' Norman, he led over 500,000 troops with military forces primarily from the United States, Britain, and Saudi Arabia, along with logistical and financial support from an additional 31 nations. President Bush was quick to make known the Allies' clear and limited objectives. Known to history as either the Persian Gulf War or First Gulf War, it marked the beginning of frontline reporting by embedded news reporters from around the world, providing their viewers with live pictures of ongoing battlefield actions. Anticipating the Arab nations opposing him would refuse to fight alongside their archenemy, the Israelis, Hussein launched Scud missile attacks against Israel, hoping to draw them into the conflict. But the U.S. quickly deployed to Israel the new Patriot missile interceptors, which for the first time were used successfully on the battlefield. In the end, Israel stood back. Within 100 hours of the ground forces launching their assault, the war was over. But not before Saddam Hussein had ordered the destruction of the very oil fields he sought. 1 week following the cessation of fighting, President George Herbert Walker Bush addresses Congress and the nation.
As president, I can report to the nation, aggression is defeated, the war is over.